Okay, linear 2 test review. So it says, what is the slope and the y-intercept of the line represented by this equation? Well, first off, that's in standard form, and for us to find slope and intercept, we need it in slope-intercept form, so we have to solve for y. There's 2 steps. We have to move our x and divide by y. So how do I move 3x? Well, we're going to do minus 3x on both sides. And that leaves me with negative 6y equals 12 minus 3x. These don't combine because they're not like terms. And then we have to divide by what's in front of our y. And we have a negative 6. Don't forget to carry down that negative. These cancel. Y is now by itself. 12 divided by negative 6 is negative 2. Be careful, I saw this mistake quite a bit. Negative 3 divided negative 6 is positive a half. So plus 1/2, don't forget your x. Okay, so this is our equation. Well, remember m is always touching our x and b is not. So m, my slope, is positive 1/2, which is here. And b, my y-intercept, is negative 2, which is here. Okay, this one says, what is the slope-intercept form of the equation? Well, slope-intercept form, again, like that one up there. But on this one, it's a little different. Well, I know my slope is 3. Well, all of them have a slope of 3. So that doesn't help me. Okay, so now I need to move this over so I can find, remember, these are our y-intercepts. That's our y-intercept. Okay, so knowing that, let's get y by itself so we can type it in our calculator. So I have that plus 9 next to my y, so I have to do minus 9 on both sides. And that leaves me with y equals 3x minus 1 minus 9. And I can type that in. Y equals 3 parentheses x minus 1 minus 9. And I need to find my y-intercept, which is negative 12. So which one has a y-intercept of negative 12? It's C. Okay, looking at number 3, it says, what are the x and y intercepts for this equation? So this is a lot like number 1, except this time we're going to use our calculator to help us. So we have to solve for y. We cannot type it in our calculator. This is not my x-intercept. This is not my y-intercept. So I'm going to move my x. So minus 4x minus 4x. And I have negative 10y equals 20 minus 4x. So now we divide by what's in front of y. So divide everything by negative 10. And that leaves me with y equals, that gives me positive 2. 2 negatives makes a positive. And if you struggle with this, negative 4 divide negative 10, no decimal. It is 2/5. Don't forget to bring down your x. So I'm going to type this in my calculator. Y equals negative 2. So this is what I get. And I remember it's looking for my x and y intercept. Well, my x and y intercept are just where it touches x and y. So I have 5, 0, which is here. And I have negative 2, 0, negative 2, which is here. So don't get them backwards. You're literally shown the point on your calculator. So do not flip them. Okay, looking at number 4, it's a lot like that one. And number 1, we're going to have to solve for y so we can graph it. We only need 2 clear points. So my first step is to move my x. That leaves me with 7y equals 21 minus 3x. And now I need to divide by y. Well, in front of my y is a 7. And I'm left with y equals 3. And this does not simplify. So it stays like this. And we're going to type it in just like we did the last one. Y equals 3 minus 3 over 7x. And I'm going to just click on my intercepts. And if they're both pretty, I can plot those 2 points. So I have 3 and I have 7. And it said 2 clear points. And we're going to use our ID badge. And we're going to draw the line. You have to draw the line. You have to draw the line. Okay. All right, let's look at number 5. Number 5 says write the equation of a line with a point and the slope. So we're using point slope form. Y minus y1. And remember, your point always looks opposite. Slope is in the middle. Well, slope is 3, and all of them have 3 as a slope. So that doesn't help me narrow it down. So we have to pay attention to the point. Well, this is my x, this is my y. So x1, x1. So remember, if I were to plug this in, so y minus y1 is -1. Well, that 2 negatives changes to a plus. So I have to have y plus 1, which is b, equals my slope. X minus x1 is 2. So that proves that it's b. Okay, flip to number 6. Okay, looking at number 6, it says the line created by the equation here passes through which of the following points? Well, again, x is after x, y is after y, and they look opposite. So the opposite of -9 is +9. So that's my x. And then the opposite of +4 is -4. So this is my point. Okay, let's look at number 7. Now 7 and 8 go together. So 7 and 8 go with this table. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and type some of the table points in. Plus sign, table. I have the point x is -13, y is 4. And I have the point -9, 7. Be careful. Make sure you keep the x is the top, y is the bottom. And you only need 2 points so we can find slope. Well, slope is this decimal. So remember, you can click this, export as custom regression, and then you can type m. Now, we could have just typed 0.75, but if it's a crazy long decimal, this works. So we click this, and it's 3/4. So A is my slope. And because A is my slope, I know that this is not the answer. That's 4/3, and this is not the answer. So I've narrowed it down. Now, I want you to realize it doesn't tell us which point it's using. But after the x, I have 5. Well, the only point that has 5 as an x is this one. So if I were to plug that in, remember it's going to look opposite. The opposite of -5 is +5. Well, both of them have plus, so that doesn't narrow it down. And the opposite of +10 is -10, so this should be -10, therefore D is my answer. Okay, look at number 9. Okay, which graph best represents this equation? Well, this is point slope. Remember, when we have it in point slope, we have to move what's next to our y. Well, I have a -6, and I do +6, +6. And that leaves me with y equals -2/3, x plus 3 plus 6. Whoop. And now I can type that in my calculator and see which answer best, or which graph best fits it. So let's type all that in. So y equals, and I'm gonna look at my y-intercept and my x-intercept. So my y is 4. Well, that one's at 3. That one's at 4. That one's not, so C is not my answer. And this one's also at 4. Well, again, my y-intercept is 4, so I know A is not my answer. And honestly, y'all, we can look at the slope and we see that this is my answer. It also does touch at 6, so A, or B is my answer, sorry. Okay, looking at number 10, it says what equation of the line is in slope-intercept form for this graph? Well, my y-intercept, my B, is -2, so I know C and D are not it. Well, there's 2 ways to do this. We could do our rise over run, rise 1, 2, run 1, 2, 3. So I know my slope is 2/3, so B is my answer. Or we could check it in our calculator, y'all. You're given y equals equations. So y equals 3/2 x minus 2. So this one has the correct y-intercept, but looking at x, well, mine touches at 3. That one touches at 1.3, so I know that's not my answer. And if we were to check our answer here, it does touch at 3 and -2, so that is my correct answer. Okay, now on number 11, you do have to show work. Okay, if you don't show work, I don't know how you got the right answer. So you have to solve for y. So move your x, divide by y, And that leaves me with y equals positive 2 minus 2/3 x. Well, I don't have a positive 2, I have a negative 2. So that doesn't match. So A is not my answer. Because remember, 10 and 11 go together for this graph. Okay, looking at B, I have minus 2x minus 2x divide by negative 3. And that does leave me with y equals negative 2 plus 2/3 x. Well, positive 2/3 x is correct, and negative 2 is correct, so B is my answer. Okay, number 12 is separate. It says, what is the slope of the line represented by this? Well, this is standard form, so to find our slope, we have to solve for y. So I'm going to move my x minus 25x minus 25x. And that leaves me with 5y equals 50 minus 25x. And I divide by what's in front of y. And that leaves me with y equals 10 minus 5x. And remember, slope is always what's touching our x value. So slope is negative 5. Okay, number 13, I want you to remember this is the nose of slope dude. Okay, remember his nose is a vertical line. We have a u underneath and it's an x equals equation. So this is an undefined slope. 13 is this whole thing. Okay, and I know that because of this. Okay, and it's an x equals equation. So x equals, well, so I know it's one of these, but I can also type these in, y'all. So even if I've forgotten, I said, oh, I think it's y equals negative 4. Well, we see that that's a horizontal line. This is a vertical line, so that's not my answer. So if we check the x, that is my vertical line at x equals negative 4, so that is my correct answer. Now, on the opposite side of that, remember his mouth is a zero slope with his butt chin being a y. So knowing that, it says, what is the equation of a line that passes through this point and has a slope of 0? Well, the 0 is the horizontal line, so this is a special case. And it's a 0 slope, and it's a y equals a number situation. Y equals, just like this is x equals no y, this is y equals no x. Well, what is the y of my point? 12. And you could type that in your calculator and check it. Y equals 12, which is a horizontal line. And then we can also type our point 2, 12, which if you see my point showed up, it does go through that point. So this is correct. Okay, looking at 15, it says a movie theater charges $8 for child's tickets and $12 for adult tickets. If the theater collected $240, remember our C is our cost. We're doing this in standard form. If you look at your answers, they're all standard form. And C is always our total. Okay, so I know my total is 240, which they all have, so that doesn't narrow it down for me. Which equation in standard form represents the situation where x is the number of child tickets? So child tickets is here, this is my x. Adult tickets is y, this is my y. So 8x and 12y is 240. So it's D. Now we're not subtracting. Okay, it's literally saying both of them together equals 240. So both of them together is adding. Okay, number 16. If I were to draw a line through this, I'm drawing a positive line, so I know A and C are wrong because those both say negative. Okay, and then weak and strong. Well, strong is when the dots are pretty close, and all of those are pretty close, so it's strong. Now, if they were way further out, that would be weak. 17. The following scatter plot shows Pam's training as she prepares to run a 6-mile race at the end of the month. Which of the following would be a reasonable approximation for the length of time it would take for her to run 6 miles? Well, if we're estimating, we have to draw a trend line. And through the center of our data, we want the equal number of points on both sides of the line-ish. So I would say that's pretty close to going through the center of my data. And it says, how long would it take for her to run 6 miles? Well, this says distance. So 6 miles is here. And I have that a little over 60. So mine says 65, but which one's the closest? D. Okay, last but not least, 18 says, I know these are the wrong letters. This should say F. Sorry, y'all. Is represented by the table. Well, remember, F of X equals Y. So inside parentheses is X, outside is Y. So this is saying X equals 10. X equals 10, Y is 3. This is saying Y is 2. What's your X, which is 6. And then this is telling me the point 2 comma 6. Well, that's not that point. So this is false. All right, good luck. Study for your test.